And now we are on day 6 and he is officially sleeping through the night again. Back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to take you along with us for our nap time and bedtime routine. This is going to be a sleep training kind of how-to tips and tricks and like where we're at in the process. We're sleep training our 1-year-old. He is actually a really great sleeper compared to our 3-year-old. Our 3-year-old did not sleep through the night ever until he was about 15 months old. And Ethan actually started sleeping through the night when he was 3 months old. I followed originally when he was a newborn, I followed the easy routine. That's from Tracy Hogg's Baby Whisperer book. If you're not familiar with who she is or what that book is, I'll leave a link in the description box below. It's fantastic. I actually discovered her when my older son, Ezra, wasn't sleeping through the night. I was severely sleep deprived. I was waking up 3 to 4 times a night to breastfeed him, and he was a year old, and I was at my breaking point. And so I found her book called The Baby Whisperer Solves All Your Problems. And in that book, she had some tips and tricks on how to get your child to sleep through the night. I did it, and within 2 months, Ezra was sleeping through the night, and he has been ever since. So when Ethan was born, I decided to use her easy routine method that she talks about in her very first book. And by the time Ethan was 3 months old, he was sleeping through the night. Fast forward to when he was 6 months old and he started teething. So it went from him sleeping through the night to starting to wake up at midnight, and I could tell he was in discomfort. So I would go in there and then I would put the teething gel on, and then I would start rocking him because I felt bad. I also thought in my head, okay, he already knows how to sleep through the night, so I just need to comfort him. And that was okay. I didn't mind waking up once a night with him. I kept telling myself, like, it's way better than getting up 3 or 4 times a night. Like, we're good. Then big brother Ezra started preschool, and from about September up until present, we have literally been sick like every 2 weeks. And not just like minor colds. Like, Ethan has had maybe 4 or 5 ER visits. One was for croup, one was for a 106.7 temp, another was for a 106.1 temp. When he gets sick, he gets like scary sick. And so because of all of that stress, he started waking up more often, and I was really nervous thinking, well, is he getting enough fluids? I don't want him to get dehydrated. I don't want whatever he's trying to get over, I don't want it to get worse. So then I would start feeding him in the middle of the night. And it went from him waking up at midnight to suddenly waking up every hour to 2 hours, needing a bottle, needing to be rocked in order to get back to sleep. And for the longest time, David and I were just like, no, he knows how to sleep. I mean, he was doing it at 3 months old. He knows how to sleep. He just is sick. Like, we just need to get through this. Or he's just teething. We just need to get through it. But now he's a year old, and he hasn't been sick for, I want to say, almost a month now. So fingers crossed we are in the clear of all of the sicknesses and teething and whatnot. And we noticed he's still waking up all the time. And now it's to the point where we were waking up and it was taking us like an hour, hour and a half just to get him laid back down in his crib and out of the room, because as soon as we would lay him down, he would start crying and he would be really upset. And so then we would pick him up and we would start the whole process over again, either rocking him or giving him a bottle just so that we could get him back to sleep. So then I dug out The Baby Whisperer Solves All Your Problems again, reread through all of the process and kind of tweaked what I did with Ezra when he was a year old to kind of accommodate Ethan. And now we are on day 6 and he is officially sleeping through the night again. Yeah, I honestly thought, because with Ezra, it took about 2 months for him to sleep through the night with this method. I thought we were in for that, if not longer, because Ethan is a lot more vocal and frustrated at night when he can't sleep than Ezra ever was. But surprisingly, and I think it's because we had done Tracy Hogg's easy routine with him from the moment he was born, I think he just needed to be reminded that he knows how to sleep. So yeah, that's our story. That's why we're sleep training and kind of what led us to this point. If you find yourself in a similar situation and your 1-year-old is not sleeping and you're just like pulling your hair out trying to figure out how to get your kid to go to sleep, this video might be helpful for you, especially if you're not a fan of cry it out. I tried the Feber method with Ezra and I couldn't do it. I just could not handle it. I can't handle the crying and the screaming. I have too much anxiety and it just stresses me out way too much. So I'm a fan of the pick up put down method because it's this hybrid of crying, because babies need to cry in order to learn how to fall asleep. That's their whole process. But it's also a good fit for me and for my anxiety and my nerves because I'm able to be in the room with him and comfort him and help him through that whole process. So really quick, I'm just gonna break down for you what the pick up put down method is and insert some footage of me actually doing it so you can see how it works. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you can encounter when doing this method. So I'm gonna show a nap time and a bedtime routine. I might just show footage of the nap time because at night it's kind of hard for my camera to focus and so you might not see much, but I will give you the gist of it as far as like how long it takes and things like that. Okay, so for nap time, what I do is I kind of look at Ethan and I gauge kind of when he's starting to get tired. Some classic signs of being sleepy for a 1-year-old is they might start tugging at their ear, which that's kind of hard also because he's teething, especially if your child's teething, they might be tugging at their ear because their mouth hurts. Another sign is rubbing the eyes, hitting their head, believe it or not. And then also just if they're walking around, they start to look uncoordinated and they fall over a lot more. Both of my boys have always done this thing where they kind of like put their head down and do what looks like a downward dog yoga pose. When they start doing that and like falling over, then I know, okay, they're starting to get tired. They're ready for a nap or to go to bed. Before doing this sleep training method with Ethan, he was taking 2 naps a day, and I think he was still doing that largely because he wasn't sleeping through the night. He wasn't getting enough rest at night, so he was needing 2 naps during the day to catch up. But then that was creating a vicious cycle because then he was sleeping too much during the day and not able to really fall into a deep sleep at night. So what we've noticed is after the first day of sleep training, he started taking just 1 nap a day. So right now we're trying to figure out when is his ideal nap time. It has fluctuated between 11 and noon, but more often than not, it's been 11 these past 6 days. So with that knowledge of 11 o'clock being my goal for nap time, I try to get the whole process started 30 minutes in advance because even if they're tired, especially young children, they need a wind down time, and that usually takes anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. And when I say wind down, it's gonna be your nap time and bedtime ritual. This is so important because it's gonna signal to them, okay, it's time to sleep, it's time for me to relax and chill out and fall asleep and stay asleep. So for Ethan, what I do is I take him upstairs and I just talk to him the whole way saying, oh, are you ready for your nap? It's nap time now. And I try to use the words nap time very frequently because he's gonna learn that, he's gonna hear it, and it's gonna tell him, oh, we're going into nap time now. Then once I get up to his bedroom, I will read anywhere from 3 to 5 books. Today, I think it only took 2 books. I kind of also use that as a time to gauge when he's really ready to go down for a nap. If he's tired but he still has a little bit of energy, I can usually get through 5 books with him. But when he's tired, he'll start pushing the books away and he'll flip around in my lap and he won't want to sit still anymore. So then that's my signal, okay, no more books. I'm gonna stop reading to him. It's been enough. And then I will take him and I will lay him on his changing table. I will change his diaper. And he's a very wiggly baby. He's always hated getting his diaper changed. So I have a toy that's usually not super stimulating. It's like just something he can kind of like fiddle with or chew on or whatever, so that I can change his diaper and then put his sleep sack on. It doesn't always work. It usually gets me through his diaper change, but then I have to kind of like, I don't know, MacGyver him into his sleep sack. He isn't at the point yet where he sleeps well without it because he uses it to kind of help soothe himself to sleep. He'll chew on the top of it. And then after that, I go over and I turn on his noise machine and I turn off his lamp. And when I do this, I say, okay, bye-bye sun, even though it's not the sun, it's just his lamp, but bye-bye light, we're gonna go nap now. And so after I do that, I take him over to his crib and I will usually hold him and rock him a little bit in my arms. And I'll just say things like, you're gonna have a great nap time. You're gonna feel so rested when you wake up. You're gonna feel so good and you're gonna have a great nap. And then I will lay him down and I don't really talk to him anymore after that because I find that it just stimulates him more. So the whole time that he's in his crib, I don't make eye contact with him. I wait for him to stand up, and then once he's standing up, I will put him back down into his crib and like lay him on his back. If you have a younger child, 6 months to a year, maybe they're not standing up in the crib yet, you would actually pick them up. So if they're crying, then you would pick them up and hold them, and then you would put them down the second they stop crying. Since Ethan is older, he's a year old, he stands up and I'm not gonna pick him up because that's just gonna wake him up even more. He's also really heavy, that would hurt my back. So I just do the put down portion of this sleep training method. So he stands up, I put him back down. If he stands up again, I put him back down. Eventually, I'll notice he starts getting tired and he, instead of standing up, will just sit up in his crib. And so I will lay him back down, lay him back down. Every time he sits up, I will just lay him back down. If I notice he's getting wobbly, he sits up and then I will give him a few minutes because sometimes he will start to lay himself back down. And I want him to learn that skill too. I want him to learn, okay, I'm up, but I'm tired. Let me lay myself back down so that I can go to sleep. Now, one of the most common challenges in this method is wondering, am I doing it right? Is my child actually tired enough to fall asleep? They seem wide awake. There's no way in hell this is gonna work. So that is typically what happens with Ethan. Like, he looks like he's wide awake. He will be screaming, he will be laughing, he will be giggling. He might start crying a little bit, but he is generally just super active, kicking his legs like crazy until all of a sudden, just like that, he will fall asleep. And I'm not kidding, he will be rolling around, kicking, and then the next thing I know, he's asleep. And so once he's asleep, I will sit and I will wait, because if you get up too soon, it might startle them and then they'll get upset and then you have to start the whole process over again. So I just wait and I kind of count to 60, like I count the minutes in my head. Sometimes I count to 5 minutes and other times I just count to like 2 or 3 minutes. And then I lean forward and I double check that he's actually asleep. At which point I will stand up and then I will leave the room. Today, my sleep training only took me 25 minutes. It usually takes me 30. Although yesterday I did put him down in like 10 minutes. It was crazy. He just was super tired and didn't fight me at all. Bedtime is a different story. We usually have to kind of be in there for maybe 30 to 45 minutes. But I'm gonna try something different today and put him down a little bit later. So we've been doing his bedtime at 6:30, but I think now I'm gonna move it up to 6:45 and see if that shortens the amount of time that we're in there doing pick up, put down with him. I was in there for just as long as I have been the other nights. I was trying to push his bedtime later. So that he would hopefully go to sleep quicker, but that's not what happened. It's the same amount of time. So, oh well. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you find it helpful. Leave me a comment down below with what you think about this method. Have you tried it? Would you recommend it to other moms? Have you tried any other routines? Like, I've heard really great things about Baby Wise. Maybe you have used Feber and it worked awesome for you. Leave me a comment down below. Let's get a conversation going so that any other sleep deprived mamas out there can find tips and tricks and maybe find just like all different kinds of methods to try and research to find the best fit. As always, thank you for watching my videos. If you haven't already, please hit that red subscribe button. I'd love to have you as part of my channel. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.